Hello, Summary Squad. Today, we're going to meet Nissim Black in our school. And first thing I met, was we found this sunken boat. Oh wait, can they? This is Nissim Black. This is me. And this is BB. And this, oh yeah, it is. And this is a sunken boat. Concert, or as I think it's whatever it is. Alright. Everybody's thinking of what he should sign. Can I sit here? Can I just sit in between you?
Ready?
Yes!
We're going to need a little bit more quiet because Nissim Black's story is fantastic. I heard it twice, and every time it blew me away. Later on, we'll be able to ask questions and line up if anybody wants a signature and obviously a song. So without further ado, we've been waiting for Nissim Black is going to speak and tell us about his story. Thank you guys so much for this awesome and warm welcome. I really appreciate it. Even the guys who met me outside, I guess I wasn't supposed to be here, but those are my guys.
Yes!
Amazing.
Hi.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much. I just got here now from Eretz Israel. Hopefully you guys can make some noise for Eretz Israel, no? Amazing. Baruch Hashem, it was an awesome plane ride, sleeping, but it all had to come to an end with a nice Tanakh at the end. Baruch Hashem, I landed here in New York. Thank you guys so much for being here. A little bit about my story and my journey, which began many years ago. I always like to, before I give over my story, I always like to start with a story. There was a very famous Hasidic master by the name of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. He said something amazing and startling many years ago. He said that by the rest of the world, they go and they tell stories to the children to put the children to sleep. He says, but by us, by Jews, we tell stories to wake people up. It's a beautiful thing. There's a story that happened maybe, I don't know, also maybe 200 and some odd years ago. There was a guy named Yossi, and Yossi is a very famous story in the Hasidic world. Yossi fell asleep, and he had a dream 3 times that far away in a distant land, somewhere over in Poland, he was in Ukraine, over in Poland, that underneath this certain bridge, there was a massive treasure. Now you think if you have this dream 1 time, that already in yourself you're thinking, now, maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. 2 times, 3 times, you're already at this point ready to pack all your bags. So that's what Yosef did. He went, he packed up all his bags, got everything. He didn't even have enough money to make the trip. He had to go on a train. Everything was crazy. He ended up doing everything that he could. He amassed enough money, whatever, to be able to go on this journey to go and find this treasure that was underneath this bridge. And he had a dream. So obviously, such a vivid dream that was there, it was so clear to him. He went out, and he finally finds himself there, but he's got a major problem. He did everything he could. He made this journey, and when he gets to the edge of the town there, and he sees this bridge, it's surrounded by guards. These guards are all walking back and forth. They all had armor. It's obviously a very, very dangerous thing to approach, especially if you think you're going to go find a treasure over there. Interesting. So, it happens that he finally musters up enough courage to go and ask one of the guards, would he mind if he dug over there? And he told him, he said, I'm here because I had a dream, 3 dreams consecutively, that right here underneath this bridge, there's a massive treasure. And I'm going to make a deal with you, that if you allow for me to dig underneath here, I'll give you some of the money. So the guard looks at him, and he starts laughing. And he's laughing and laughing, and he laughs in his face. And he says, what type of a guy? He said, only a Jew would think of something. He said, let me tell you something. I also had a dream. I had 3 dreams in a row. That over in this town in Ukraine, on this street, and this person's kitchen named Yoso, underneath his kitchen, there was a massive treasure over there. Do you think I went to this guy's house to wake him up? So Yoso's listening to the description. He described his house, his street, his kitchen. So Yoso takes off and he leaves. He goes back home and he starts digging underneath his kitchen, and lo and behold, he finds a massive treasure. It was by him. A lot of times, the mushroom, this is the initial of the mushroom, is that a lot of times that we go out and we're looking for greener pastures, we're looking for something else far away, we don't realize that a lot of times Hashem put the treasure by us, that it was sitting there by us the whole entire time. I grew up in Seward Park, which is a Jewish neighborhood. I didn't know anything about Judaism, but I used to walk through a shul every single day to go to my elementary school. I used to play basketball behind one shul, and behind the big Sephardic shul, which I ended up converting in many years later, I used to ride my bike behind that shul. I would have never thought, if you would have told me as a young kid that one day when I got older I'll actually be going to this shul on Shabbos, I would have thought you were crazy. Would have never thought about it. A lot of times, as I said, Hashem will put the treasure by you. I began my life in Seattle witnessing a whole host of crime. Both my father and my mother both were involved in illegal activities, you can imagine. And I always say, like any good Jewish boy, I joined the family business very early on. Unfortunately, by the time I was 9, I was already running with the wrong crowd. 12 years old, I joined the street gang. By 13, I was expelled from every single school inside the Seattle School District, and I found myself getting into a lot of trouble. My first introduction to religion was Islam. My grandfather was a Sunni Muslim. He came to live with us. He spent most of his life in prison, and he came to live with us when I was around 8 or 9 years old. And he introduced me to Islam. I prayed with him 5 times a day. I used to go with him to the mosque on Friday. And unfortunately, because of his lifestyle, it was very hard for him to give up. He unfortunately ended up back in prison. So from that time on, if anybody had asked me what my religion was, I would have told them I was a Muslim, because that's the only religion that I really knew. Every once in a while, it was Easter Sunday, we would go to church with some other family members, but I wasn't really so involved in Christianity. That wasn't until I was 13, and after getting into all the different trouble that I told you, there was a friend of mine who invited me to go to this program, this after-school program, because they had a hip-hop workshop there, and I ended up going, and I happened to be at a Christian organization called the Union Gospel Mission. So I ended up going there for, I think maybe a year I was there, and for me, it was a very, very powerful experience. One of the things for me is because I was going to a place every single day, apart from just my home, I was able to wake up a little bit and see that maybe the way that things were going at home were a little dysfunctional. Test. It's the microphone. Probably need new batteries. It's such a good audience. We'll get to you guys soon. So being at this place became like a safe haven for me. It kept me out of a lot of trouble. Not completely, but it kept me out of a lot of trouble. And after building a good relationship with a lot of the people there, after a while they felt it appropriate to invite me to go with them to summer camp. Now up until that point I had never been to anything.
Again.